Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. It's David again, segment 2 of today's broadcast. Like I said, I told you after that first break we were going to talk, my friend and I were going to talk about the other movie analysis I did, V for Vendetta. But right now, I told you I want to do the psychosomatic symptoms of mental health because that is under the biocultural section in diversifying global politics and in anthropology studies, and it's kind of important to look at biocultural issues. So, in biomedicine, it's dominant system of Euro-American cultures, and sometimes it's the physical alignments experienced by individuals as psychosomatic. But psychosomatic is just a term derived from the psyche, which is the mind, and soma, which is body. So it's issues of the mind and body, because a lot of people say if your mind and body, if your mind is off, like when people say, oh, if you look good, you'll feel good. That's kind of an understanding of it, because the biometrics of it work hand in hand together, which is kind of true, because you know, stress does play an important factor in your sleeping, and then your diet plays an important factor in your sleeping habits, and then they all work together. You know, if your diet's off, if your sleeping habits are off, then your attitude's going to be off, and your body and mind, your psyche's going to be off. That's why a person that is experiencing depression or anxiety is there's other lying factors going on with that person. There's other things happening that's why when you look at shrinks and counselors, they're trying to get to know that person's subconscious mind. They're trying to get to know that person's thought process in their psyche, and not just the outer experiences and the outer impressions, because what we see is what those people want us to see when we talk to people and when we're introduced to people. That's why everybody says first impression is important, because you're seeing a display of what that person wants you to see versus what's actually deep rooted inside that person. Okay, so each culture possesses its own historically developed ideas about health and illness. I mean, you know, medicine is practiced differently around the world, and you know, that's why I am trying to stay on topic. And when we're talking about the globalization, the globalizing economy on the North American continent, we're also going to look at biocultural issues too. And this is, I'm trying to stay more focused on Western biocultural issues. Alright, so fundamentally informed by a dualistic mind and body model, biomedicine represents the human body as a complex machine with parts that can be manipulated by experts. Well, some sociologists look at the human body, there's some sociologists that look at it as the functionalist perspective, and I can try to break that down for you. Like, if one of your organs is not properly functioning right, then the rest of the body is going to have a negative reaction to, as a byproduct, to an organ failing or an organ not working. So that's why it's actually important to look at it like that. But this approach has resulted in spectacular treatments, and we know that. Like, for example, there's a major study going on where a gluten-free diet can severely reduce the symptoms of people that have schizophrenia or people that are bipolar. Because, I don't know why, but a gluten-free diet is not a fun diet. It's hard. And it's very awesome to see if you can really push yourself to stay on a gluten-free diet, the way you feel, your appetite, your attitude, everything's going to improve exponentially and dramatically. And it's so strange that it's like, you know, a lot of people that get on a gluten-free diet are just trying to get rid of that wheat belly, but there's other things behind it. So today, remarkably, breakthroughs of biomedicine are spreading rapidly throughout the world. And people from cultures with different healing systems are moving into countries where biomedicine dominates. And you know, it's not an unfounded observation, but this makes treating illnesses defined by biomedicine as a psychosomatic disorder all the more difficult, because that's just kind of like shamans that have been practicing shamanism for thousands of years. Why do we not allow shamans here in Western values to do dream analysis, and then people actually take those interpretations as real, as a real influence in their decision-making process of their daily life? Like, people act upon those dream analysis, those dream interpretations, and we don't here in Western values, we don't really even think twice about dreams anymore. But some cultures around the world have been looking at and interpreting dreams for thousands of years. So it's actually kind of important to focus on that. Indicative of our biocultural complexity, psychological factors such as emotional stress and your worry, your anxiety, like I said, stem from cultural context. And the results are increased in physiological agitation. And that goes back to Pavlov's hierarchy of needs in that pyramid, and in the simplified pyramid that I was trying to break down and show you guys. So let's go back to it. Heightened blood pressure, headaches, stomach. I mean, I just wrote all these down as talking points. Headaches. There's a wide variety of range of other troubles, but when individuals are unable to deal successfully with stressful situations in a daily life and do not get the right opportunity for adequate mental rest, then that throws everything off. And relaxation is a very big, important part to that. And even your natural immune system can take a major hit from your mental conditions and your mental capacity and the way you feel. And that goes all the way back to when I say, if you look good, you feel good, because you're happy inside and your body inside feels good. So therefore, your physical body will feel good. I don't know. It's just some food for thought. Let's say, you know, and immigrants migrating to another country, you know, feel this too. Not just because they're not used to the food that they're going to be eating, or they're not used to the germs that they're going to be influenced, but that's, again, there's stressfulness in the actual transition into another country. And if they're not, like I said, I told you in a couple of days ago broadcast, a really big statement in anthropology is you either change or die. So if you cannot change and adapt with the troubling times or the testing, the tests, then you're going to find yourself in trouble. So medicine and psychological approaches developed in European and North American societies are often unsuccessful in dealing with these problems for many reasons. But for, like, the most important one is the various immigrant ethnic groups, and that goes back when I told you the very first key point in this week's broadcast was ethnicity and human modification in the diversity of a globalizing world. So because these different ethnicities have different views of biomechanical and cultural concepts of the body and mind. So that's something to think about. And you know, in Western medicine, especially, that's why I was talking about the Caribbean, which is the American back door. Caribbean peoples, for example, have a widely held belief system and values in spiritual forces that are active in the world, that they actually think that it influences human identity and behavior, which your environment, again, like I said, 50% of your personality is genetics, and 50% of your personality is your environment, from preconception to conception to age 10 or 12. That makes you as the adult who you are today. So that's why I think it's important to look at this. So someone with a psychosomatic problem, it is normal for them to seek a local, we're in the Caribbean, it's called a curandero or a curandera, So it's like, the way to say it, I don't want to put it in the same category as shamans, but it's like a folk healer. It's like a yeah, let's just say it's a folk healer. So we can look at it as like a Santigoradara, that's like an herbalistic healer, or an herbalist. And when you're looking at, you know, in America's and today's medicine, it's all about, let's cut you open and sew you back up and put you on drugs. But, you know, there's more out there than just homeopathic medicine. There's herbalistic medicine, there's like aloe vera medicine, and I mean, there's a lot of different medicines out there that actually work. But the reason why we don't focus and target on these other medicine doctrines is because the MD practitioners just kind of monopolize that medicine in American society. So it's just important to see that. Let's see. Not only do in Western psychiatry, the clients don't really even understand the symbols of Western psychiatry. So you're walking in trying to get help, and you don't even really know what help you're going to be getting. So therefore, sometimes that's why you'll see these people going in and out of all kinds of different psychological clinics, and being on with all different kinds of counselors and shrinks, because, you know, in the privatized market of medicine, you do have the ability to choose your help and choose your doctors and choose your you know, your practice with respect to your income, which is funny. But to go to a psychiatrist is often too expensive and may imply that he or she is loco. So, you know, if you're spending thousands of dollars on a psychiatrist, a lot of people think you're crazy. But maybe that individual is just trying to find the right psychiatrist that fits and suits his or her needs. So that's why I think it's important to go back and study why this is happening in society. But a lot of anthropologists right now in the past few decades have become increasingly involved in cross-cultural medicines. And why? Because a blending sometimes is good. That's why you'll find more advocates of globalization than critics. Because when you are a critic of globalization, you're kind of going against the grain. You kind of seem like you're a person that's fighting the NWO, that's fighting all these all these worldly agencies and institutionalization agendas, because globalization is taking over at a very powerful and exponential rate. The inclusion of cultural appropriate healing approaches has gained growing acceptance among many of the Western medicine or medical practitioners and the psychological establishment in Europe, North America, and many other parts of the world. But mainly, that's why I was bringing you this article. You can go look it up. It's out there, and that's mainly because we're on the globalization in the North American continent. So it's actually important that you look at that. So that is almost going to wrap up globalization on the North American continent. There's a few more things I really wanted to touch down on before I move to globalization in a different part of the world. But doing so, we can get a better understanding cross-cultural hybridization, and that's important to know that, because there's a lot of blending going on right now that's unnecessary. So I'm going to take a break, and when we come back, the last segment for today's show, the last segment for our broadcast, is going to be the, I don't know what I did with it, but we're going to be, oh yeah, I told you I was going to end on reading my paper that I wrote about the movie analysis of V for Vendetta. But I'm going to have my guest today actually read it for you. So I'm not just sitting here talking to you, giving you all this information. I'm going to change it up for you and have someone else bring my work to you. Okay? So thank you for following us. Continue to follow my blogs and everything that I'm doing at dubstreasurestore.com. If you really support my broadcast and the cause of what I'm doing, donate to us, or buy some antiques from us, or follow one of our sponsors, or find my merchandise store and buy our t-shirts and support us, because this isn't cheap, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a fun thing, but this is coming directly out of my private pocket. So I'll see you after the break. Have a good one.